Hey there, and welcome to another trip report. Today I find myself at London's Stansted Airport about to take my first flight on ultra-low-cost carrier Ryanair. That's right, up until now I've been successful in avoiding the blue and yellow shuttle buses of the sky, but that changes tonight, as I'm booked to fly from London to Malta on one of Ryanair's Boeing 737 MAX 8s. Stansted Airport is located 70 kilometers northeast of central London, with the journey on the Stansted Express train from Liverpool Street Station taking approximately 45 minutes, with trains running every 15 minutes. Inside the terminal, in true low-cost airline fashion, Ryanair is the king of all things surcharge, and that starts with check-in, where if you choose to do so at the airport, you'll be billed an extra £55. That's a hefty charge, which can be fully avoided if you check in and download or print your boarding pass online before heading to the airport. If you have checked baggage to drop off, you wouldn't be subject to that fee, but of course, there are fees for the checked bag itself, with a 10-kilogram checked bag on this flight to Malta costing £17 when purchased online, or £30 for a 20-kilogram bag. These online prices go up significantly if you choose to purchase the bag at the airport, costing up to £50. Security here in Stansted was pretty slow, taking almost 30 minutes from entry to exit. After security, we have world duty free before reaching the main waiting area. Like other European airports, Stansted has one central waiting area for passengers after security, but minimal seating at each gate, and gate assignments only shown about an hour prior to departure. The waiting area here at Stansted is actually impressively modern, very different from the cold and bare pre-security departures hall. There are shops and restaurants around the perimeter with seating in the center, and it is packed this evening. After waiting around here, we've been assigned gate 52, which is about a 10-minute walk from the waiting area. Talking about Ryanair's carry-on baggage policy, with a base ticket, each passenger can bring one small bag that fits under the seat. If that's not enough, you can add a 10-kilogram carry-on bag for £24. This bag goes in the overhead bin, and adding this option also gives you priority boarding, meaning you get on board first to stow your bag. At the gate, we have no seating and two separate boarding lines, priority and non-priority. Before long, the line spilled out into the hallway, and we waited for about 20 minutes here before boarding got underway. I'm never a fan of this kind of airport arrangement and find it more stressful than having dedicated gate seating, but perhaps that's just me. After boarding started, we were shuffled into another holding area while waiting for our aircraft to arrive. Scheduled departure time is 7:10 p.m. and we waited 30 minutes here before finally being let on board at 7:20 p.m. Our aircraft for today is a 2-year-old Boeing 737-8 MAX 200, which is the higher capacity version of Boeing 737-8 MAX lineup. This particular aircraft is in Ryanair's colors, but registered under Malta Air, which is one of Ryanair's subsidiaries. Ryanair has 123 MAX 8 aircraft, with 87 more on order, in addition to 410 Boeing 737-800s, as the world's largest operator of the type. Stepping on board at the rear entry door, this plane fits 197 seats in a 3-3 seating configuration. To pre-select seats on Ryanair, there is of course a fee, with the cheapest bookable seat on this flight coming in at £10 for a standard seat near the back, or up to £30 for an extra legroom seat. I pre-booked seat 24F for £10, which is a window seat on the right side of the plane. All the seats on board are identical, with a blue leather back and base, and yellow hard plastic on the seat back in front. The seats have a slimline design, and for what is a very modern cabin, it unsurprisingly feels quite cheap. The seats don't recline, and there are no charging ports, universal power, or USB. None of this is very surprising when you consider the cost of a typical Ryanair ticket. In terms of cabin baggage storage, the overhead bins up above can accommodate larger items, and smaller bags go under the seat. I traveled with a standard size rollerboard bag which fit up top just fine, and my small bag, which was my backpack, fit under the seat, but doesn't slide under very far. In terms of legroom, these seats have a pitch of 28 inches, which is tight for me at 5'10". You will notice, however, that there are no seat back pockets, so that frees up some knee room. On the seat back in front, at the top we have the safety information label, as well as a QR code for accessing the onboard purchase menu. Keep in mind that there is no Wi-Fi on Ryanair's Boeing 737 MAX aircraft, so make sure to download the Ryanair app before your flight. Below that, we have a good-sized tray table that folds out for use. Since there's no seat back pocket, most people's garbage seems to end up on the floor, which is pretty gross. With minimal turnaround time between flights, it doesn't appear that there was any cleaning done before we got on board. On the overhead panel above each seat, we have personal reading lights and adjustable air vents. And that's about it for in-seat amenities. There's no Wi-Fi on board and no entertainment of any form. Bring a book and charge up your devices before the flight.
Before takeoff, please study the safety.
The whole boarding process was completed in under 10 minutes, and we managed to push back only 20 minutes late.
And at the rear of the cabin, all exits are also
Flight time down to Malta this evening is 3 hours, with a routing over France and Italy before heading out over the Mediterranean. The first aisle service of the flight got underway about 15 minutes after takeoff, with food and beverages available for purchase. Taking a look at the menu in the Ryanair app, nothing is offered complimentary, with even water incurring a fee of €3. The menu is divided into drinks, alcohol, hot meals, snacks, and sweets. You'll also find sections for duty-free shopping as well. For drinks, most soft drinks or juices are €2 or €3, tea and coffee are €3, and mini liquor bottles, beers, seltzers, and wines range from €6 up to €8.50. For food, there are sandwiches, pastas, curries, and more, with most options going for around €6. And finally, in sweets and snacks, we have chips, chocolates, candies, and cakes in the range of €2 to €5. All purchases on board must be made cashless, but they accept all major credit and debit cards, including Google and Apple Pay. Heading down to the back of the aircraft, there are 3 lavatories on board, with 1 at the front and 2 at the rear. As is a common theme on all Boeing 737 MAXes, the lavatories are very small, with barely enough room to turn around. It is, however, very modern and decently clean. Heading back to my seat, the contrast between the ultra-modern interior lighting and styling of the 737 MAX and Ryanair's iconic blue and yellow seats is quite stark. I pulled out my laptop to get some work done, though there's barely enough space to work with a large computer in these seats. In terms of service from the crew in the remainder of the flight, scratch cards were sold down the aisle, then a perfume sale, and another food and drink service. The cabin lights stayed on for the whole flight, so trying to sleep wasn't really an option, and instead I used the time to work. We touched down in Malta just after 11:30 p.m., 15 minutes behind schedule. Thanks for joining me for this trip report for my first time on Ryanair. My overall thoughts, it pretty well aligns with what you'd expect from an ultra-low-cost airline. Cheap fares, but extra charges for bags, seat selection, and food and drinks. The disappointing aspects, on the other hand, the standout here was the general cleanliness of the cabin, with garbage and food all over the floor at my seat, as with no seatback pockets or air sickness bags, that means there's no place for passengers to keep their garbage for easy retrieval. The 737 MAX 200 is a generally modern aircraft, but Ryanair's interior styling choices certainly detract from that. Stay tuned for the return flight back to London, where I'll be on board Ryanair's Boeing 737-800.